Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv, and there was a lot that happened last week. Here's your Sunday roundup. So last week, we start with the elephant in the room. Israel had a strike on Damascus, on one of the buildings that's run by by Iran. And then Iran decided they were going to shoot back. So they did. And now Iran is saying, hey, we're done. And Israel, we're hoping, says the same thing, and it puts that particular piece to bed. But if you look at Bitcoin took a dive all the way down to about $60,800, and then has recovered back up to, I think right now it's at about 63. It's about 63,899 at the moment. Now, do I think it's going to continue to come back? Yes, I do. Do I think that there are other factors that also played into this? Abso-freaking-lutely. Why? A couple of people out there, or a few people out there, are thinking, oh, well, Grayscale slowed down. This could be a sign that they're slowing down on their sales and blah, blah, blah. You couldn't possibly predict that because Grayscale still has over 300,000 Bitcoin left that they could sell. And it just so happens the other day they sold another couple hundred million. And you sit back and you just go, holy moly, you got to be kidding me. That is huge downward pressure. Then you had the Israeli attack. That caused even more pressure. But notice how far it dipped and how far it didn't dip. Now, my question is, do you pay attention to the news and how it could affect your bag? And I've had this conversation with a lot of different people. Somebody asked me, hey, Eddie, how do you do your research? And, don't you think looking at numbers is better? Blah, blah, blah. Looking at numbers is really good, but I want you to understand something about numbers. The analysis of numbers is a backward look to help you try to predict what happens going forward. If you do not understand that, then you're not paying attention, and I need you to pay attention. Numeric analysis on cryptos, stocks, bonds, options, whatever it is always good, but it's not the whole story. Some things are moved by news. Crypto is not the stock market. So where the stock market, you can actually, numeric analysis, charting as they call it, is great. In the cryptocurrency world, you should stop and think about that, right? It's good to have that information, but that does not mean that what those numbers tell you as a go forward, like comparatively on stocks, is going to be what happens. Why? Because crypto does move on news. So you have the Israeli strike, Iran hitting back against Israel, over 300, missiles, drones being thrown at them, and you had Bitcoin take a dive. Not a big dive. People were using the word crash, and I was like, what is wrong with you? How long ago was it that we were like, just, oh my God, we're above 60? See what I'm saying? So really, take a deep breath, understand what's going on, use it to your advantage. So when that happened, when everything took a dive, myself and a couple of members, that I have on YouTube, were buying. We're buying. I know you're probably going to ask me, what did I buy? I bought my normal DCA, but then when I say I was buying, I took some of my dry powder, not all of it, just a little bit. I bought some Bitcoin Cash. I bought some Solana, and I bought some Shiba Inu. Now people are going to ask me why. Why? Because people underplay Bitcoin Cash too much. Why didn't I buy more Bitcoin? Because I already DCA'd, right? That's one. Bitcoin's always in that group. But when I take dry powder, that's for spots where I think things are going to explode. I want you to pay attention to where Solana is right now. Solana right now is at 137.87. Want to know how much I bought it for? I didn't buy at the bottom when it was like 128. I bought it at like 131. But I'm still up. Does that mean I could lose some on the way back down? We already took a dive. So for me, I think I was able to catch, right? I was able to catch as close as I could to the bottom, to the floor, that current floor, and then, okay, cool, back up. That's why you DCA. So the DCA bucket, yeah, buy. On the trading bucket, oh, we have a dip right here. That's an opportunity. So I bought. A couple of us bought. Like people were tapping me. Hey, I bought. Did you buy? Did you see what's going on? Yeah. And you might be thinking, well, what was the big concern? The big concern was Israel trying to draw the United States into a war? That's not a question I need to ask. I need to answer here. It's a question I need to use to react to the crypto market, even to the stock market, depending on what stocks you're looking at. Defensive stocks, yeah, they're probably going to go up, right? Because you've got to replenish and all that good stuff. So they're probably going to go up, in my humble opinion. But you have to be paying attention to the news, especially in the cryptoverse, because that could have an effect on your bag. I don't care what you have in your bag. You should be doing constant research on what you're holding. You like to play around with memes? Good. What are those memes doing? What's their rhythm? Are you playing the rhythm, or do you think I'm going to buy this meme coin and I'm going to sit on it? That wouldn't be me. I'm going to play the rhythm. I'm going to figure out the rhythm. I'm going to catch up to the rhythm, and then I'm going to go with the rhythm. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I want you to do. That's literally what I want you to do, is pay attention to the rhythm of meme coins. Pay attention to the news about meme coins. Case in point, you could have been all up into Pepe, caught the rhythm. Yeah, it's nice. Then all of this internal turmoil and strife, like holy moly. And then that's what happened. You could have been involved in SNEC. For a little while, SNEC was doing really well. Then all of a sudden, poof, nothing. No move, barely any movement. You got to be paying attention to the news. And a meme coin especially, because if there's no news, there's no fervor. That means you're out of people's psyche. It's going to go down. So you want to be paying attention to that rhythm. That rhythm comes from how much people are talking about that meme. What are people doing? What are they thinking? Blah, 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 blah. Then, one of the pieces of news that I came out with last week was I was reading a report, and the report said that a lot of the meme coins on base are insecure. They're open to vulnerabilities. Oops. This is what I mean by doing your own research. What's up with this coin? What are they doing with it? Was it just a coin to catch a wave? Because if so, was it rushed? Did you not put in security? Did you not follow best practices? See what I mean? Because they're not real coins. They're coins for a name. They're coins for a game. Don't care about that. So if you're going to play the meme game, understand what they're all about. Understand that. If you're looking at real coins, yeah, now you can really get into who's the development team. Are they following industry standards? Are they taking the standards to another level? All those kinds of things. So looking forward this week, especially after we got economic news from last week that also affected us. So what did you learn? CPI was hot. PPI was, decent, but on the hot side. What does that mean? Oh, that pretty much means the economy in the United States is hot to the touch. Right? You'll hurt yourself. So this is what we have to pay attention to. Please. Right? So what does that mean? It means the economic data that we got pretty much dictates that we're only going to get at best, two rate decreases. What do I think? I've been saying it for a minute. I think we're only going to get one. If we get two, I'm going to feel like they rushed it. I'm really going to feel like they rushed it. Think about it. It's April now, so May, June, right? So you have enough data to look at. And then if one of those months comes in too hot, you're pushed off again. Pushed off again. And the economy is hot. Jamie Dimon, I think, might have been the first to say it. But look, listen, I know you're thinking about doing something in June, July timeframe. I really think you shouldn't. I really think you shouldn't. And guess what? The numbers came out. And a lot of people, a lot of smart people, economists, were saying, Jamie was right. It's too hot. It's too hot for that rate decline. So that means you took away that number 3. What's coming up this week? Well, this week you have the halving event, and then whatever other news comes out. Something that somebody's going to say, the crypto market was oversold. As soon as you start hearing that, that's when you know it's going to go like this. It's going to go up after that because it was oversold. If you are a member, then we've been talking about this all last week during our nighttime live streams. Well, not nighttime, but late our second shoot. It's in New York. It's nighttime. So our crypto overflow, this is where we talk about that. This is where you get to have one-on-one, basically one conversations with the group. We come in, we talk about everything, we break everything down. What happened today? What do we think is going to happen tomorrow? What happened the previous days? What happened this morning? All of that. But this is what we converse about. And if you were listening last week, you were paying attention to, we have a lot of people. This is what I was saying. We have a lot of people that don't have foundational knowledge about the crypto space. So what happens? They get the tiniest bit of bad news or what they think is bad news. And, I got to pull my money out. Oh, you're one of those, huh? I'm cutting my losses. You're cutting your losses, huh? Couple hours later, then everything comes back. And I'm sitting back and I'm going, so because of that, because of Grayscale, because of other compounding problems that might have been out there that were solved or whatever, people sold off because they don't have that foundational knowledge. And I sit back and I just go, for those of us that do have foundational knowledge, for those of us that don't have weakness in the gut, we stayed in. We bought on the dip. We bought on the bad news. We were in a position where we could do so. You're not always in that position, right? Sometimes you got to use your money for something else, right? So you start to realize, holy moly, we are being moved. Yes, we're being moved by Grayscale with regard to Bitcoin. We're being moved by bad news from Solana that, hey, we have tremendous congestion. We found a bug. We're working on it. We expect to have it fixed tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow being the 15th. The 15th is also a big day. It's tax day. So what else did you have? Harvesting. That's what you had, harvesting. People trying to get out while they could to take the hit and kind of go, I didn't really make money. Right? See if they showed profit. Just saying. So you had a lot of factors that played into that downward pressure on the crypto market last week. Some of them huge macro events, a couple of them smaller micro events, right? Then when you look forward on this week, I'm sitting back and I'm kind of going, do I think that tax day being done tomorrow, 12 midnight or 11:59 p.m., do I think that's going to have an effect? Do I think the event, the halving is going to have an effect? Is there going to have an effect? Rather, is there going to be any other fall off from the Israel-Iran conflict? What else is going to happen? Right? And you start to look at everything and you start to go, well, people take news to extremes. So what happened? The United States moved troops. And you sit back and you start to go, oh, okay, I have to start paying attention now. I have to react now. Most people were reacting in the wrong direction and selling off. Others were actually buying in. Then on the positive side last week, that's going to probably happen this week. You have 5 firms in China that could be approved for Bitcoin spot ETFs to be launched in Hong Kong. There's a reason why it's being launched in Hong Kong, and it should be obvious. If it was launched in China, it's not open to the world. If it's launched in Hong Kong, it is. They're looking to steal some of the thunder away from the United States spot Bitcoin ETFs and others, right? Open it up in Hong Kong. They would start getting that money or start buying in. More upward pressure because of more demand. And I want you to think about this. There's already unprecedented demand for Bitcoin. Already. Imagine if we just recovered to 73,750, current high, right? That's about the current high. Imagine if we were able to recover just to that from where we are now. Some of these coins would give you a multiple right off the bat. Which brings me to my whole point about Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu used to be a meme, not a meme anymore. And when you look at that, you're kind of like, oh, so that's what could happen. Yeah, I was looking for a multiple play. Now, what are my shots of that? I don't know. I think my chances are pretty high that I'll get a multiple out of it. That was my choice. That was my research. That's what my research told me. I could have bought into Ethereum. But I started to think about it and I'm like, well, for me to get a multiple out of Ethereum, it's got to be like 60 something hundred. For me to get a multiple out of Bitcoin, it's got to be like 100 something. Do I think that's going to happen? Take a step back. Excuse me. And you look at something like Solana and you go, Solana's down. Solana was down as far as 128 and change. Might have been a little bit lower, but about 128 and change, right? Well, Solana's all-time high is 250. That's an easy thing to get to. Solana had already reached 220. So you start to realize, oh man, I could get a multiple out of Solana. Shiba Inu had already given a multiple, a 4x multiple from where it was. In the nines just earlier this year. Now it's at 20 something. Earlier that, then before that was like in the 40 somethings. And you sit back and you kind of go, oh, yeah, you can get a multiple out of that. Bitcoin Cash is not going to be a multiple, but I will think it's going to be a higher percentage than maybe Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe even Solana. But I bought the ones because I only wanted to buy 3, technically 4. I wanted to buy the ones that I said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And that's how I start looking forward. What other news happened last week in terms of the currency market? Yeah, Grayscale is still buying a lot. Toncoin bunny hopped Cardano to become number 9. Wormhole, which is not that old, it's only a couple of weeks, and it's already over 50% off its all-time high. That ought to make you scratch your head. Do you believe that Wormhole is going to come back anytime soon? I don't know. That's why I didn't buy any. I don't know. Just saying. Then when you look at regulation, well, senators are trying to push forward, a new bill on stable coins. That's going to have major conversation, continuing conversations that have been happening behind closed doors for a while. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if they actually took a pragmatic approach. Then you have the SEC late last year, we're finding out this year that, they just abruptly stopped an investigation into Dapper Labs. And I bring that up only because the SEC has not been moving in a sure-footed manner. And right now, the biggest thing on SEC's plate, Uniswap. Some would think that it's Coinbase, it's Uniswap. You put them together and it's Coinbase, Uniswap. They had a little bit of problem with Kraken. They have KuCoin. They have a whole bunch of things that they're trying to do all at once. Some cases are better than others. I think out of everything I see one case they could possibly win. like outright win. The other ones, you'll get a couple of bucks and you'll be told to go to your corner and shut the hell up. That's what I think. That's honestly what I think with the SEC. Right? You had Uniswap, trying to centralize their treasury. People are like, it's supposed to be decentralized. Why are you trying to go backwards? So that's a problem for Uniswap. Uniswap. Sorry. You had Kraken delist a privacy coin, Monero. That's actually a big deal. It's actually a big deal. Monero's used a lot for privacy transactions, for transactions that people want to remain private. And Kraken was like, yeah, that kind of goes against KYC and AML. KYC, know your customer. AML, anti-money laundering. BCB Group is leveraging the services on Ripple-owned Medico, and that's for custody operations. That's a big deal. Medico is growing, which means Ripple is growing in that space, providing more services. When I look at Ripple, some of the services that they're providing is, close to an investment firm. Certain services are close to an investment firm. Certain services are close to a bank. I think there's going to be major problems with banks because they're having a hard time redefining what a bank is or defining what a bank is going forward. Right? I think the investment banks are going to do well because they are investment banks. They're actually helping you make money. Banks, where they're doing nothing but holding your money and making money off your money, people aren't going for that anymore. So deposits are declining, all that good stuff. And then you have the regional banks that are going to get hurt by high interest rates that are going to be higher for longer. They're not built to sustain that for an extended period of time. So we could be seeing problems with that. Then you had the banks, a couple of banks last week report, and a couple of them didn't do so hot. You have larger than regional banks like Citi, Wells Fargo. I'm paying attention to those because I don't think they're going to go so far. They'll go far, but I don't know that they're going to go, well for a period of time. They have a lot in front of them that they need to accomplish for them to turn everything around. Must pay attention to that. And the reason why I bring that up is because what happens in that banking space can have an effect over here in crypto. So that's what I'm looking for going forward. What other banks are going on? How are those banks doing? What do they have in reserves? What services are they providing? Are they providing traditional, are they heavy on traditional banking services or are they heavier on investment banking services? Are they, heavy on small business? Big business? Like where are they heavy and is that a good position for them? And then I start thinking about, well, how could that affect crypto? And for each story, I put that together, and that's how I weigh things. So I need you to pay attention to what's going on this week. Halving event, tax season is up tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. You have Solana, supposedly their developers should have the bug fixed tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hoping so, right? Because it's yet another network problem. Network didn't go down, but it felt like it almost because things were taking that long. To all those things we should be thinking about. Something else we should be thinking about. Sony Bank is thinking about getting into the stablecoin space. Pegging their stablecoin, obviously, against the yen, that fiat. So that's a big deal. That's the second one. That's the second bank to announce within 2 weeks, or literally within a week of each other, that they're going to have their own stablecoin. That says to me that they're expecting an uptick in crypto transactions, especially in the DeFi space, right? So these are things that we're thinking about. These are things that we should be thinking about going forward. So anyway, that's your Sunday roundup for this week. I invite you to become a member of Grow My Bag. We have a few more things coming for our members. I'm not going to announce them now, but we have a few things because if you're already a member, you already heard what we've got, going on. We've even, shown you a couple of things, but pay attention to what's going on this week. This week is going to be a big week. Friday is a big day. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow's a big day for two reasons. I told you both of them, IRS and Solana. Friday, halving event. All right? Let's stay clear, and I'll see you tomorrow morning on the on the Crypto Minute, and then tomorrow night, if you are a member, I will hear you and see you on our live stream at 8 p.m. Have a good one. This is Eddie J on Crypto for Grow My Bag TV.